In this episode of the Web3 Creators Podcast, we interview Adan Kedem and we discuss buzzwords in crypto and real world use cases and peer-to-peer interactions. So I think you're going to love this episode. So stick with us to the end and see you inside.
You're listening to the Web3 Creators Podcast, where we speak to the brightest minds and builders in crypto, DeFi, NFTs, and the Metaverse. Our goal is to give you the absolute best tools for building a thriving business in the Web3 space. Now, here's your host, Hernan Arver. Let's start creating.
Hello, creators. How are you doing? Brand new episode of the Web3 Creators Podcast. And I have with me, nonetheless, than Adan Kedem.
Hey.
At Worldbusters. How are you, Adan?
Hey, how are you doing? Thank you very much for your time. It's my pleasure. I'm doing okay, under the sea. But I'm doing just fine.
You're under the sea in the background, but the question is, are you underwater?
Actually, no, it's not underwater, but it's kind of an experiment I've been doing lately with 3D and virtual spaces. So that's what you're looking at.
When a trader is down, it's in a losing territory. It's called being underwater.
Well, it's you learn things every day. But thank you for clearing it up.
Yeah, for sure. So Adan, let's see. Let's hear your story. Tell us what you did before crypto and Web3, and what got you into the space, and tell us the story.
Yeah, sure, for sure, no problem. So I started my professional digital career selling media, like performance. Everything that has to do with digital marketing, and basically it was kind of a pioneering move, because it was like about 15 years ago when there was no digital infrastructure per se, and there was no absolutes in media. So you were gambling when your company was like paying money to Google and paying money to like ads and all that. It was like a gambling move.
No one didn't track it properly.
Yeah, it wasn't just tracking. You were paying for exposure. Like, okay, 1,000, like CPM it was called. Like 1,000 times the people see that dumb flashing banner, you pay $1 or a cent or whatever. So it was like very immature way to sell media, like a newspaper, because you pay for appearing in the newspaper. You don't know the results. Like, unless people call you, and then you have to, you came from the newspaper, sweet, and stuff like that. So yeah, it was very, it was a problem to sell websites and Facebook pages and stuff to people that didn't even have websites yet. Not everybody. Think of how old I am. So, I mean, not all people even had websites. They still had like other alternatives. Like I have magnets on doors. In Israel, it's a common thing to have that silly magnet pasted on your door, like for plumbers.
I have it on. They stick it on my electric the electric door that's metal wise. That's where they stick all their installation.
Yeah. So that's as a beginner, like salesman in that department, I used to call people that the installators and all those people. I would call them from the magnets, and I'll tell them, hey, why didn't magnets? You have internet, you can have a website, you can be like, I was approaching my end user that way, my end client, because he was doing advertising. You have to do it. Like,
so you were creating adoption from the physical world into Web 2. Web 1.
Yeah, it was Web 2. It was not Web 1, because you can actually upload content.
If it was Facebook pages, you can call it Web 2. But if it was just websites, it's basically what we had over the Web 1.
That's the main discussion, by the way, for adoption and innovation, is to understand the history of where you're coming from. So Web 1 was like a newspaper. It was just you read information and that's it. You cannot contribute information or control information or add pictures or whatever. So Web 1 was us looking at this newspaper page and you cannot interact with it. Web 2 is the evolution, it's the social networks, it's search engines, it's portals and indexes and
What we call UGC, user-generated content.
Yeah, exactly.
Read and write. Mm-hmm.
So it's like the great aggregators of content like Facebook that steal our information and track us and all the fun stuff that came with Web 2. It came like every time you get something innovative, on the other side, you have to ask yourself, what is this innovation about? Why is this free? I mean, what are they getting? What is the model? Just ads? What are they getting? And a lot of the times we, as consumers, we don't care. We just, okay, give it to me for free. So why not? I'll make money with it. And if Facebook was like the exposure at the beginning was like, everybody can get exposed, like just open pages, the millions of people with your posts and all that stuff. And all of a sudden, Facebook cracked down on the exposure, and all of a sudden you have to pay to get exposure for your, personal stuff, not just your business stuff. Mm-hmm. So
they cracked down on your exposure, but they turned on the faucet on the monetization part.
Exactly. They turned that, like all of a sudden you cannot use YouTube videos because it takes you out from Facebook to YouTube, and you don't have the exposure to it, so you have to put it in the comments. That's why you put videos in comments, by the way, because you want more exposure to your post. And not the other way around. I mean,
and I think that the brand new revolution about Web3 is that it's not really your post. Like, you posted it, but is it really yours? If Facebook shuts you down, what happens to your post? It goes away. Facebook decided this is not proper to the community guidelines. It's not really your post. It's not really your video on YouTube. And I think that's what Web3 allows us for, right? To own our digital stuff.
It just, we need to change the terminology from user to owner, and that's the difference between the Web 2 and Web 3, because you own the things you do. The thing is, it also gives you a problem. I mean, when you own stuff, that means you're liable for a lot of stuff that you get protected from with disclosure and community guidelines. Like, if you post racist stuff or whatever, I mean, Web 2, there's a problem with us as humans. We take a lot of things for granted, and we don't understand the mechanics, the mechanism behind the scenes that protect us. So, like, there's a lot of mechanics in advertising and in those places that protect us without us knowing it, that it protects us. But, you were asking me at the beginning, like, how I found out about blockchain. I'm going back to the topic because I blah blah blah. I talk a lot and I missed my. So I'll focus. Thank you. It's my honor. I mean, I'll go back to the focusing part. So for at least 7-8 years, I've been doing advertising and digital advertising and digital transformations for a lot of companies. Using all sorts of CRMs and connecting the CRM to the web page and the web page, tracking, and everything like was evolving, and that's called performance. And when I first stumbled upon blockchain, and I seriously say stumbled upon because I stumbled upon it, a lot of people claim that I've always been a decentralized entity, and I've been producing paper wallets since the beginning of time. No, I was aware of Bitcoin because it was a digital currency I heard about, but I didn't invest in it, and I didn't understand it at all. So when I stumbled upon blockchain, it was Ethereum actually that caught my attention, because a guy came to my office and he said, like, dude, I'm reducing the use of electricity by an algorithm to mine Ethereum in a better way. So you save electricity if you use my algorithm on your rig. And I was like, what the hell are you talking about?
What's Ethereum? What's a rig?
Ethereum. What is it? Like, it's an imaginary, what is it? I mean, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. And he came to me as a marketeer and business development guy, and he said, like, I need to sell some rigs, and I need people to use my algorithm to mine the Ethereum. And I was like, I don't know. I cannot help you. I don't know what you're talking about. So I need you to explain to me the business aspect of it, how you make money right now. How do you make money? You sell rigs? They say no, but I give lessons about it to people, and I charge $500 per lesson. And I'm like, oh, that I can sell. That's interesting, because it sounds like you have like an interesting occupation and an interesting mentality. So teach me about that. And he taught me everything he knows about blockchain and Ethereum. And I was like, wait, besides mining, do you have smart contracts that can, I'm a gamer. I know a thing or two about where I can use this. I can trade. I can make deals with people peer to peer. I don't need banks. I don't need the middleman. Why didn't you tell me about that? That's a complete world. And then my mind was like blown away for like 1,000 pieces, and I haven't slept for like 2 weeks figuring out how to approach it. So the first thing I done, and that's how I discovered blockchain. So I went after the 8-hour-long interrogation that guy went through. He showed me Reddit and Steemit and the communities and Bitcoin Talk and where to get the information and how to everything.
Did you get into Steemit?
Yes, I get into Steemit. I even built like a Steemit community, and the thing is, I mean, I'm a marketing guy. So yeah. Steemit is another social platform that you can make money on your content. It makes sense to me. I mean, Steemit is like, if people don't know, it's like one of the first social networks that used blockchain and cryptocurrency at the same time to actually generate content and make money.
I think it was the first social network on the blockchain, right? Where every post is posted as with its address on the blockchain, permissionless and decentralized, right?
There's a lot of things that were right about it. You felt right. You make money with your content, and there was nothing else like it. I mean, it's before Twitch. It's before everything that made money for content creators. So I think the first time I realized like you can make money out of social network and stuff, it was back then. It made sense. But you have like a currency there that has like a lot of manipulations on it, and you have a lot of politics behind that's a problem.
The witnesses.
I mean, once you understand, you can do like a market making operation on social networks, then you understand how corrupt it can get, because market making is a known problem in the blockchain and crypto worlds. So
market making is actually a service, because when the arbitrage happens, they find the balance. That's what allows you to have the same price in Binance and KuCoin and Kraken at the same time, because of those arbitrages in the market making. At the same time, I agree with you that market gaming or market manipulation, that's another thing, right? And that can be done with bots.
It's a potato, I think, in that regard. I mean, if you think about it, market making, or even Uniswap is an automated market making protocol. If you know how to use a market making protocol, you can do whatever you want. You can control volume, you can control price, you can control liquidity, you can actually make people hold without holding.
With a big enough wallet. I mean, if you have this good decentralized market maker that is...
I don't think it's the wallet size. I think it's the size of the volume you create and the gaps between selling and buying that makes no sense. And then you buy, and when you want, let's say you buy for $1. And then the market maker on the other side, okay, you bought for $1, but the offer I'm making to sell would be for $8 or $10. So nobody would, it creates this huge gap. I mean, I'm not talking about good market makers. I'm talking about the horrible ones that you can obviously see the manipulation. But it works. People that don't know how to trade and just invested in crypto randomly, and they want to sell out, they want to sell, they cannot, because if you have on the other side a liquidity provider or an exchange that manipulates the trading, A centralized exchange, let's say, like most centralized exchanges we use, they manipulate a lot of things behind the scenes without us knowing. I mean, that's part of the problem with centralized exchanges, and it's part of the problem with. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love blockchain. Blockchain is for me a solution for a lot of different problems, but there's a lot of things behind the scenes that are wrong, that we need to fix, that we need to properly. The infrastructure has to have like some sort of control. I mean, it's a good jungle for you if you're not hurt from it. I mean, and up until the point that you get hurt, you're like, yeah, good. I want to be my own bank. I want to be like, But once you get like, oh, I sent my money to the wrong wallet, or I sent my money to a smart contract instead of the wallet. What do I do now? I mean. And then you're like cursing it out. Oh, blockchain is the UI is bad, but it's you made the choice to be your own bank. What are you complaining about?
Yeah,
I mean, so there's a lot of things in the blockchain space, and in
self custody is definitely not for everyone, and I think most since the inception of the internet. Most the content creators, including companies, have kind of catered us to this walled garden where even banks. I think a lot of people have an issue with taking responsibility over their assets, and they'll just rather have a third entity, a trusted bank or someone to hold them for them.
Yeah, but then don't use blockchain. It's not for you. I mean, if you look at the purification of what pure blockchain is, forget about everything we experienced up until now. The core element is peer-to-peer interactions. Is I send you something, you send me in return, and we don't need the middleman. We don't need it because we can do transactions between ourselves. So where can you see that happening in the crypto industry? That's like a main question in the crypto. I'm not saying blockchain industry, I'm saying crypto.
Okay.
Because there's a difference. I mean,
what is the difference between crypto and blockchain and more recently Web3, because Web3 is a more recent term?
I think it's just words. It's words that nobody understands completely, even me. I mean, I've been in this industry for 6 years now, digital for 15, and like when somebody throws me the word UI UX, I'm like, what are you talking about? It's like 50 different things in that specific. What do you do in the UI UX area? What do you do? UI and UX? You're a technology guy. You do backend. You don't know. UI UX is such a large word. It's like blockchain. It's such a large word, and crypto and Metaverse, all those Web3. It's what do you do in Web3? You're a marketeer, you're a finance guy, you know how to build smart contracts. What do you do?
So, if I had to define them, I'd say that blockchain is the technology that enables crypto and Web3. Crypto are basically the world of currencies that are built on top of the blockchain, are used to transact and transfer value. And Web3 is more the term used for the new layer of the internet that can be used for transferring value and real digital ownership. And that's, I think, that one is dependent on the other. Like, I think they're all interrelated, but you cannot have crypto without a blockchain. You can have blockchain systems without crypto. I don't know if you can have Web3 without blockchain, because that's the whole.
You have cryptography without blockchain. Crypto is cryptography.
Cryptography, yes, for sure. But how do you apply cryptography? But how would you apply cryptography?
So you have plenty of other mechanics that use cryptography.
Encrypt stuff, right? Yeah, to encrypt passwords.
I mean, again, if you ask me what I think about all those words, I think we should lose them and stop using those words because they're confusing to the end user. I mean,
there's the word, even the word NFT, right?
It's the worst one. It's the worst
big
one.
Companies that are entering the space, they you will not find the term NFT mentioned anywhere in their promotions. They use either digital membership or digital collectibles or member reward series. The word NFT is not even mentioned, right?
Well, look at Reddit. Reddit has like the saltiest, worst audience in the internet when it comes to cryptocurrency. It's the worst audience because they give you so much crap for, oh, it's a rug pull, it's a Ponzi scheme. And then Reddit says, you can get digital currency, but it's not NFT and it's not. And at the end of the day, it's NFTs. They sold NFTs for money using their own audience. I mean, that's what makes it so funny. That's the irony with Reddit. It's like they shoot it in your face. It's NFTs, but they just don't call it that.
Well, let's analyze if they're really NFTs. Okay, non-fungible tokens. If they are digital assets owned by Reddit, then they are not really tokens. They are just digital assets. Now, if they are able to replicate them and they don't have a unique ID that is public on the blockchain, which makes NFTs unique, then they're also non-fungible because they can also be replicated, and that's basically a limit that doesn't really make them NFTs. They're just digital avatars, right? That they're selling. Okay.
Yeah, but
and they have a marketplace for it. But
it's still one of a kind. It's NFTs at the end of the day. I mean, they
can play around. If Reddit blocks you, then your avatar is gone. Whatever.
I mean, what is the difference? What is the difference between? Let's put cryptocurrency for a second. Let's talk about that for a second. What's the difference between, let's say, digital currency used in Fortnite, like V-Bucks, that you need to buy in order to buy digital goods on Fortnite, and regular cryptocurrency that you can, whatever? What is the difference? Well, it's very simple. By the way, it's very simple explanation. Sorry for cutting you off. On Fortnite, you cannot take your money out, and you don't have a secondary market. Right. On blockchain, you can have, and that's the only difference. But still, people give you a lot of crap for it being able to have secondary markets. I mean, it's the regulation that gives you all that problems. It's not the people.
Well, in the case of Fortnite, you'll be trusting Fortnite to hold your assets like you would trust a bank. So that's beats the whole purpose of crypto, which you can do this permissionless. If let's say they have a lot of regulations around what you can do with those digital bucks in Fortnite. You cannot agree with someone that you'll give them this amount of Fortnites for an illegal service.
They got sued lately. Like I don't remember if it's Call of Duty or Fortnite. They got sued like a huge law, like $70 million, $80 million for manipulating children for buying these currencies. Yeah, it's a big deal. I mean, the thing is, digital currency is already there. I mean, it's used on a daily basis. You gave me an example for
there's a term in Hebrew. When all institutions and banks they refer to crypto, they call it madot virtualim, which is virtual currency. And I always try to push for the term digital currency because the term virtual makes it
digital.
Immediately think like it's something just imaginary. It's not really there.
It's a great discussion actually because the evolution, by the way, of my blockchain experience in that regard is getting back to how I discovered it. So, first of all, I mean, I've been involved in several blockchain companies. I mean, as CMO, as community manager, as in an exchange, I've been like with the traders and giving them like listings and stuff like that. So, I mean, all those markets, all those people, they rely on information that you convey in a certain manner. And I always, I said we should stop using the word blockchain and stop using the Web3 and all those. We are kind of screwing ourselves.
Buzzwords.
Yeah, it's not just buzzwords. It doesn't mean anything to anyone. I mean, besides us, I know you know me. I know you're a blockchain guy, so I can tell you blockchain stuff. If I go to a company like any other company, a pizza place, I go to a pizza place and you need blockchain, you need NFTs to generate, blah, 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 and they won't understand. But if you say, hey,
now is it a matter of educating the mass population about what blockchain means, or is it you need to find another term like decentralized databases or something?
No, we just need to give them working products. That's it. No explanations. Here, that works perfectly. Use it. That's it. No more conversations about how it works and why and white papers and all that crap. We don't need it. I mean, think about it in the logic, again, with a pizza place. I always give these examples when I talk to people, how simple things are. When you want pizza right now, I'm hungry, I want to order a pizza. I go to Google, I type in pizza. The first thing that pops up, I either call them up and give them my credit card over the phone, or I go into the website and I just order a pizza. For once, do you stop and read the white paper of that pizza place? Or who's the CEO? What's the team?
You never ask how they make the sauce even.
You don't even ask if they have a license to produce food. You don't even know where the food is coming from. It could come from a warehouse next door. You don't have a clue. But you don't ask questions because it works. You trust. Again, it's like somebody said, like digital wallets are crap. Nobody wants to use them. Beat went like, you know what? I'll give you 250 shekels in them if you pick them up. And that gave him Pepper Pay and all those guys. That's digital wallets holding digital currency. So you cannot tell me it doesn't work.
Because they're owned by the bank, they can print shekels to incentivize people to use them, right?
But it's not the bank's fault. It's our fault. It's our fault. We're to blame because we don't have users. I mean,
builders.
Yeah, the banks, they have like an infrastructure that built for decades, hundreds of years. The banking system is, started from trading on benches, and that's why they call banks, by the way. You know why the word bank is bank? You know where it comes from? Like in Sicily or someplace like there, people were making deals on those bunks, and that's why it's called the bunk, a bank. I mean,
in Spanish,
that's
banca is where you sit down in the park.
Exactly. Most people don't realize that because they don't care. They have a working product. They don't care how it works. Do they care?
Well, I guess banks also evolved from those sitting on those public chairs on the park.
But the evolution is they're evolving with their users. They're not evolving without users, without money, without marketing. I mean, it's a machine. And if one part of the machine does not make sense, users won't come. And it doesn't make sense that in order to do a simple something, let's take gaming, for example. Again, I go back because it's simple, stupid. I'm a gamer. So for like 30 years, I started with Atari. And you either buy a game or there's a new mechanic called free to play. You download the game. Like Call of Duty is free to play, Warzone. I mean, not the game itself, but you have fun. And inside, and inside, like when you go in, they ask you, "Oh, you want to look better, or you want your weapon to look funky? Pay us money," and that's like the model. But you go in, they give you the value before they ask for money. And in blockchain and all these mechanics, they go, you know what? If you want to use my system, give me some money before you even build trust and value. I'll give you 10% off. But why should I even? Why? What is the 10% off on trading fees? Why? I don't need it. I mean, I can trade peer-to-peer. Why should I even come to an exchange and get 10% off? It doesn't make sense.
The big distinction between play to earn and play and earn come into place, right? Because the whole narrative behind like Axie Infinity of the play to earn was predicated on the mostly on the incentivized on the monetization of those battles, such to an extent that eventually it became work for people. They were just setting up farms of Axie Infinity workers, and they were working the game to extract the value from there, not because people were enjoying the game. Creators, just a quick break from our episode to do a shameless plug of my brand new course, the Web3 Business Creator. Now, building a business is hard, okay? And if you've built a multi-billion-dollar business in the Web3 space, then please, ignore this and keep enjoying the episode. But if you're starting out, this course will give you the foundations that you need to really set you up for success. Okay, we go through mindset, the foundation you need, how to build a team, how to present a deck, how to fundraise properly, how to think about the narratives in Web3 so you can source a great idea from what's already out there and your personal experience. So go check it out. I'm opening 50 spots with an 80% discount. Okay, this is just for people to try it out, give me feedback, and so I can improve this. But go check it out. It's at web3creatordojo.com and use the code BuildInTheBear. Okay, see you inside. And that's I think something that really needs to be redefined, right?
If you look at the essence of what Axie Infinity is, because they have like a token and they have a native coin, and with the native coin you have to buy the monsters, and when you buy the monsters you can start playing. That means before you even played one game you have to invest $1,000 into it. That was the beginning. And why? I didn't even see the game yet. Why should I pay you $1,000 for a monster? I don't understand. And then you understand the entire thing is a market making ploy. Again, it's again playing with the rarity and the FOMO and the community, and then you have like the guilds that sit on top of everything. I mean, the guilds are the money makers, not the game, because the guilds bring you the players, and they ask like, oh, you're a player, but you need monsters, right? You cannot play without monsters, but you don't have money because you're from the Philippines. So I'll lend you a monster, and then I share profits with you. Again, it's the entire mechanic is flawed. It's not scalable, because once you have 10,000 players, you're like, good, you have 10,000 monsters and 10,000 players, it lines up okay. But what happens if like you have 500 players that want to play now? What, you're going to sell? No, I don't want you to play. What you do, you produce more monsters, and then everybody that bought the first monster gets screwed over, because from 1,000 it drops to 1, and then everybody, So the entire think about it like in an economics way. They had I don't want to sound almighty knowing. I'm not even close. I'm not an economics guy. I'm not a tech guy. I'm none of those things. But it doesn't make any sense. I mean, clearly you have inflation in that game and deflation in any economic system. You have inflation and deflation, supply and demand, markets, all those things. And if you misplan it, like they obviously did, misjudge their market, and completely, like they said, oh, we're going to have 10,000 people. That would be cool. We'll make money. But they didn't think about, what about the millions of people that want to play? Why just do 10? Why not million? Like Bitcoin, it's a specific mechanic with the 21 million. There's a specific scarcity mechanic. There's a lot of mechanics in Bitcoin that makes sense, because you can see it has token economics. It makes sense. The hard sell, I think about the beginning of Bitcoin, not even the first block or the Genesis block. Think about the centralized entity that created a decentralized entity. Think about the evolution of blockchain. I mean, it started as an idea that was produced in the 90s somewhere that everybody talks about. The first forefathers of Bitcoin and blockchain is in the 90s somewhere. And Satoshi or whoever that guy or woman or organization is created a white paper that states something. If you wrote most people have the white paper in their offices. Like, yeah, I have the white paper of Bitcoin. I'm a huge Bitcoin believer. But the thing that makes it interesting is that you think about, I will approach you today and I'll say, you know what? Hold a computer in your house that's worth like a lot of money just to mine things that have no value yet, but in the future it will have value. Would you do it? If I'll send you like an application right now and I'll tell you, you know what? I need you to spend $2,000 on something that in the future might give you some value. I don't know. I have to create the community around it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's always depending on the promise and
So think about it. Think
the
about
end
how crazy Bitcoin is. Think how like your mind. If you really think about the process of, if you don't believe in it, you won't pay anything. You won't
Well, but
use it. You won't
that's the
pay it.
whole value that's what holds the value of Bitcoin. People believing in it, right? The minute that people in general stop believing in it, then the value goes away. Like, if
So yeah.
if
So
security gets compromised, and then if there's a 51% attack and people are double spending, then the trust in Bitcoin, the belief system crumbles. That's what can cause
you know
it.
what? I'll ask you a question about blockchain and cryptocurrency. Let's talk about Solana. I don't know how to pronounce it correctly. Solana, the blockchain? Solana.
Yeah.
Yeah. They had multiple breakdowns. Again, I'm not a tech guy. I'm not claiming I know what happened behind the scenes or what kind of servers they use. But I know they could not complete consensus for like 8 hours.
Yeah, the blockchain constantly having breakdowns and periodic shutdowns.
And do you see their ecosystem disappearing anytime soon?
No, because
there you go.
They reached escape velocity with the community, with the builders, with the products that were adopted, and there are some hardcore NFT holders and Solana DeFi users that will remain even if the price crumbles even below its recent lows.
But it doesn't make sense. Their consensus, I mean, their core element should be consensus. Like, forget about everything. Their consensus has to be, they have to agree with their own consensus. You know what I mean?
Consensus works as long as there are many different consensus mechanisms, and not all as secure or as decentralized or as optimal as possible. That's what the trilemma is all about, right? That's what
why use it? That's what I'm saying. Why use it? If your consensus is, you don't even have the consensus right. I mean, it's not testnet. It's not on the testnet. It was on the main net. Think about it. The main net mechanic of Solana broke down.
But that's not because of the consensus algorithm. That's because of the extreme usage of the resources.
Does it matter why? I don't think it matters. I think if it had happened to like a bank, think about like a bank that doesn't have like a consensus down. You can do crazy things with these.
I've gone into Italy and they have their database, not working, and please wait for us for 3 hours. It happens to the banks too.
Yeah. It happens sometimes, but the consensus mechanic on the blockchain is the basic stuff a blockchain needs to protect. I mean, you know what I mean?
What you could argue is that the fact that there are node operators that can actually, stop and restart the blockchain, that makes it a bit centralized. It defeats the decentralization purpose. That I can agree with. Yeah. But the breakdowns in Solana were not due to their consensus algorithm. They were due to the extreme resource usage, right? There was basically, DDoS happens all around the internet.
So that's a DDoS attack. So basically, you can do DDoS attacks on Solana. That's what I'm saying.
And break down the system. Essentially, yes.
Yeah, essentially, and if you have like minimal I mean, again, I'm not a tech guy, and I can't wrap my head around it. That's
But
the thing.
what would you subscribe to more? Yeah, there's the Solana approach, which is run fast, make a super scalable blockchain, get as much users and projects as possible, launch, get mass adoption, run fast, and
No,
try
no.
things and break stuff in the way.
No,
Or
Ethereum had a breakdown as well. The
there's a
breakdown became.
Cardano approach, which is slowly, steadily, maybe we'll release, and then there's a hard fork in 6 months, and another hard fork, and like. Some
No, I'm
people
saying you have
like
lots
that
of
approach and
different.
understand that it's better to launch in 3 years from now, but have it better peer reviewed and studied than to launch with a working project and start tweaking it while the train
I
is
mean,
running.
I think about it as a product company. If you break it down to what a product is or what a application is and how an
Mhm.
application should work, I mean, as a basic strategy, I mean, yeah, you have to have an MVP, or you have to have some sort of, you have to have the starting point to a product, and you have to slowly use it and,
Mhm.
break it down. But that's like a product. Here it's the infrastructure for everything. I mean, it's
Right.
not just like a standalone product. They have a huge ecosystem
And they
behind them.
have value stored in it, right? It's not the same. I've seen
Exactly.
Instagram go down and Facebook go down and Twitter go down, and then okay, you cannot post or read or whatever. But when it's crypto and blockchain, you have actual transactions worth value that are not coming across or not being registered
Or
or
you
are
can
being
steal
taken.
money for DDoSing the system.
Mhm.
You can double spend, you can DDoS. If you can DDoS, you can do anything. That's the basic assumption of why do you have even DDoS attacks on companies. It's so you can break down and then enter their databases and steal stuff. I mean, if you DDoS, there's a lot of reasons why DDoS attacks happen. I mean, but you have to understand it's like a targeted attack. Here, it wasn't even a targeted attack. Imagine if they had like a targeted hardcore DDoS attack on the network, what would happen then? I mean,
Yeah,
so
we
this is
experienced
just
that.
like yeah, it's a
Yeah,
conversation.
we experienced that on ADOS back on when EOS was running. There was a project called ADOS, which essentially was giving you the tokens as long as you spend CPU, right? So the more transactions you made, the more of those coins you would get. So what that created was an essential decentralized DDoS attack because everyone was making so much transactions that they top up the CPU and RAM and the resources of the network, and the network really was grinded to a halt, right? So that can happen, and it's an issue
Yeah.
that we need to solve for sure, especially with highly scalable and the new layer one blockchains. But Adan, before we go,
Yeah.
tell us a bit what is Worlds Busters.
So yeah, Worlds Busters this is what's called turning on a dime, because we did like and so
180.
basically yeah, it's the complete 180 because I'll add one small thing about the Web3 blockchain conversation, and then I'll go to World Busters because
Sure.
there's a point I had in my mind is going like 40 different directions, but at the end of the day, we have to stop using words and just producing stuff. I mean, no one cares what internet protocol you're using. Nobody cares about anything we do. They care that it works and they're safe and everything is peachy dory and you're not stealing their money. That's it.
Mhm.
All
Mhm.
the other stuff they don't care about. I mean, the users. And when a user becomes an owner, that's the paradigm shift that's going to happen. And we have to make sure we do it properly. And the connection, by the way, with another word that's called the metaverse gives us a reason why we need blockchain. And
Mhm.
I'll explain. So Worlds Busters. Worlds Busters, basically what we do is we build 3D websites And in these 3D websites, you can have all sorts of activities. You can have like events, and you can have the like commerce and everything you want to do in a 3D space. So it's basically, let's say, if you compare it to a game, it's like Second Life. If you compare it to that, but at the end of the day, our Web 2 or our experience right now in scrolling websites is like boring, and it's not engaging, and you don't meet your client in real time. You meet them like afterwards if they leave information or whatever. Worlds Busters, what we do is we build those spaces, like the one we built for L'Oreal a couple of weeks ago. We had like an official launch. It had like a conference in there, and like there was beauty products you could test in that specific space. But the engagement with a person in the 3D environment, and the engagement you have, like not in a scrolling way or a chatbot, you actually meet a person and you talk to them, like with a mic. Hey, how are you doing? Can I help you? Oh, you came here to buy something? You need some information? Here I am. Let's talk. I mean, it's not like a 2D flat experience like we're having right now. We're both in the same space, experiencing the same walls, the same screens, and it creates a trust between people, because if they came into your space, there's a reason why they came in. They want to talk about blockchain, no problem. So imagine us sitting right now in a room, and on the walls it's like a picture of a client, and next to it there's a picture explaining things and a video there. So I can take you through that experience in 3D, which I cannot do in 2D. You know what I mean? I cannot. Yes. It's not a possibility for me. So that's why we build 3D environments, because it's immersive, because it's dynamic, because I can change it, and I can have peer-to-peer interactions there, which makes it interesting, because as it stands today, you cannot do peer-to-peer interactions between people, and that's what makes blockchain a problem. Where can I have a peer-to-peer interaction with you? If I want to buy some Bitcoin out of you right now, how would we do it? And that's a question. I mean, I will go to the exchange and I'll buy there. No, but it's a peer-to-peer mechanic. You meet me right now in the Zoom, like in this. I'll tell you, what? I want some digital, or I want the picture behind you, the one with the thinking man. How much is it? Let's say you say $50. Let's say, okay, I'll transfer you some Bitcoin and you give me the picture. Okay. But I'll give you the money after you send me the picture. And then you will say, no, you give me the money. It's a Jew thing as well. No, I'll give you,
The trust.
It's a trust. And so, again, it's a peer-to-peer interaction. There's no trust. So why would I need a trustless mechanic if I don't have trust at all? I don't solve any problems with a trustless environment if I don't have trust with a person. So that's why we go to exchanges. And in the metaverse, I meet you in the same room. So if I told you, hey, I want your shirt, I mean, it's a digital good. I want to give you some Bitcoin in order to get another digital good in the other side. So it makes sense to have peer-to-peer interactions inside the digital world, because we're in the same place. The transaction would be automatic. And that's why you need the metaverse for. And that's why you need blockchain inside that metaverse, because it enables peer-to-peer interactions. And that's it.
So if we put the transaction part aside,
yeah,
and you are interacting in the 3D world, which is immersive, and you're having a peer-to-peer conversation within a 3D space built by a provider, which you're both in, but you are having that peer-to-peer interaction. There's no blockchain involved. Would you consider that to be Web3 still?
Well, in a matter of fact, no, the blockchain has to be there. The blockchain has to be there in order to be Web3. It cannot be, I mean, if the Web3 is ownership, and again, we go back to that dirty word NFT. So the NFT gives you your identification. There's a good use for NFTs. There's no use for NFTs if there's no like something that identifies you. The NFT identifies you, the wallet identifies you, and it gives you like a KYC element. And that's why you can do peer-to-peer interactions only on the blockchain, because on the other side you have the identification factor, and on the other side you have the trading mechanic. So that's why you need it. I mean, how would you facilitate peer-to-peer interactions like atomic swaps? How would you do that without the blockchain? I mean, how would you have some sort of ledger that keeps track on all those things and have like a system? I mean, the game itself or the environment should be a centralized environment, because it has to have some sort of website it sits on. I mean, a server. The server could be AWS, it could be anything like NVIDIA, it could be whatever. So think about it this way. I mean, you're in a centralized environment, like the world itself we live in is a centralized entity. Everywhere we go is centralized. But when I meet you, I have cash, right? I can give you dollars and you give me whatever I want in the real life. But you don't have that mechanic in games or in any 3D environment. And that's a blockchain solution you can have tomorrow in those environments. And that's why I advocate that blockchain and metaverses should go together. That's the only reason. Forget the buzzwords.
Yeah. No, I agree with you that they do go hand in hand. So Adan, what are your thoughts for this upcoming bull run? What do you see as a leading narrative? Do you think that Metaverse was a bit overhyped, or do you think this is here to stay and a real thing that we're going to integrate into our daily lives?
Well, the word Metaverse should disappear quickly because it ruins everything.
You have a thing against buzzwords, I see.
I have a thing about things that doesn't mean anything. What is what do you do? Metaverse. What does it mean? It means nothing to no one. I mean, besides Mark Zuckerberg, that they thought that saying the word metaverse is cool and he should call himself Meta, and then assuming the role of the metaverse, but he doesn't have like a functional metaverse. Why would you say you're a metaverse company if you know what I mean? There's a lot of problems with that word, and everybody that hears the word metaverse, they hear VR goggles, and there's metaverses in PC. You don't need the goggles. The goggles are more immersive, yes, but you don't need VR goggles in order to experience the metaverse. The things you see behind you is generated on a computer. So I have a metaverse in PC. I have metaverses in mobile as well. So that word eliminates everything that makes sense in that.
What would you call it?
3D websites.
3D websites.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. We're building 3D websites on different platforms, on different metaverses.
It's a bit less sexy than metaverse.
It's less sexy, but it's the right word. I'm not, smearing you in words in order to, to get my point across. And when you think about 3D website, it's a website in 3D. When I say metaverse, you have no clue what I'm saying because you're not part of that community. I mean,
well, if it's an app, if it's an app on your iPad or on your iPhone,
it's an app.
Yeah, right?
It's a website because it sits on the World Wide Web on a protocol that, HTTP. It's not like on an application. It's not like you have to download it. On the phone, yes. On the computer, no. So I build on Spatial. That's one of the platforms I use in order to create the 3D spaces. I create 3D websites. I mean, all these words, UI, UX, blockchain, Web3, what do you do? Full stack. Okay. If I was a programmer, I would understand what you do. But if I'm not, I don't know what the hell you're doing. Why would I mean, I do full stack, JavaScript, Python. If I'm a programmer, I know what you're talking about. But if you say Facebook, I understand what you're saying. Oh, Facebook, it's a product. I can use it. I can upload things. I can do fun stuff. But if I would say, I'm using an HTML protocol on the blog, you would What is that? Again, what I need to download the wallet and then have a private key with 12 words, and I have to buy a token and then have a bridge to that token because it's not on the same blockchain and blah 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 blah. Blah. You see how everything is diluted and complicated for no reason.
So in summary, Adan, you would say simplify the experience, hide the tech, and eliminate the buzzwords. Is that
Yes,
basically what you're saying?
a million percent yes. Because as long as we use those words, NFTs, ICOs, DEX, DeFi, it's things that exist anyways, but we just give them words that have no meaning. I mean, for me and you, it means something, but for like someone that just listens in on our conversation, it was like, what the hell is DeFi? I mean, why is it decentralized? Why do you need decentralized finance when you have centralized finance? What's the difference? What are you changing when you say that word? And the only thing you're changing is you're pushing away your user. Instead of letting them, use it, have fun. Inside, we'll talk money, but go inside. I'll meet you there. Let's meet inside, and then I can ask for money. I'll give you value, and then I'll ask for money. If I don't give you value, I won't ask for money. It's weird. I mean, it's weird if you. I mean, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to ask for money before you produce value. But unless you convince people that this thing, like the phone, you give us 3,000 shekels, and you'll have a much convenient way to talk to people. And that's the value. But they don't tell you how they steal your information. They don't tell you how they track everything you do through the phone. They hide it because you don't care. You just get a convenient enough tool for your day-to-day life. ChatGPT, do you think it's a good thing? AI, do you think that's awesome?
I think it's an amazing thing, and I think it's inevitable. Whether you think it's right or wrong, it's here. It's here to stay.
But people are like, they don't understand the meaning of having an entity like that stuck to your data. They don't understand
not only they don't understand, we're also feeding it with each prompt.
Yes, they're feeding it. They're making it smarter. They make it smarter to track you, and they're making it smarter for you to lose your job. I mean, a marketeer like me, when I come up with a strategy and a plan to write a document and all, it takes me like a week to think about the topic. And with ChatGPT, like that, and like, so that makes us ordinary as people. I mean, ChatGPT makes us ordinary as people. Not just me, but anybody.
Would be nice. It makes us irrelevant.
Any creative thought that this machine hooks up into it can make it better than you. That's insulting as a human. I mean, I mean, think about it.
I have thought a lot about it. Yeah, it is. It's
a disgrace. It makes you understand what creativity is really about. It's just a bunch of information that's infused into your mind that somehow you make it into a picture. If you're lucky enough to be an artist, that you can create the picture behind you. But I'm not an artist, and I can create 20,000 of those in like 4 minutes with ChatGPT or with Midjourney or whatever that is. And so that takes away all your skill as a human. I mean,
it doesn't take them away, but makes them less valuable in the marketplace.
Exactly. So artists, people that create content, financial, everybody's going to suffer. There's a lawyer already on the ChatGPT system. There's a lawyer. I mean, think about that. Lawyers around the world, you should start getting scared. Blockchain was, I remember like, because I was part of a business group that has a law firm in it, I had a lot of time to ask questions with lawyers and to understand how they think and how they create things. And basically, it's a lot of templates with lawyers. And you can, like, with a simple smart contract, you can eliminate 70% of lawyers. 70%. Easy. But lawyers understand their value, and they would never let it happen. But we'll see. I mean,
I don't know. I don't know if it's up to them. As is, I don't know if it's up to us if AI will replace a ton of jobs or not. It's not
well,
something that
if you have a monopoly, if you have a monopoly over something, you would fight hard not to lose it. Trust
Yeah,
me on that.
but most markets that are free markets, the dynamics of having an AI do the job of 100 people will probably make a lot of sense to most business
You
owners.
you won't need people for long. I mean, the people. I think the next category of people that want to start looking into jobs are people that maintain prompts and people that know you to use prompts properly. And you
Yeah,
know,
ChatGPT prompt engineer. I think I've seen those roles coming up already.
yeah, it's like a chief metaverse officer. It's the same ridiculous. I mean, I use it sometimes, but it's the same ridiculous word.
Yeah,
But
I tell you, man, buzzwords are sexy. They work
they work. But for how long? I mean,
as long as
if you
the
want to
hype
have fun,
cycle stands. When the
yeah,
hype cycle down, we're
but
hating on
that's
the buzzwords. But I don't
that's
know if
not
it's just
the.
buzzwords. It's just
But
that's
it's not a proper business model to use
Mhm.
hype words to build your product around hype words because the bubble is going to burst and then you're going to lose your job and money. It doesn't make sense. That's what I'm saying. Why
yeah.
use
But
give them products? Just give them.
is it okay to hate on the buzzword, or or
It depends what the buzz. If the buzzword is use it and make some use out of it and get value, yeah, value is a good buzzword. Why not use the word value? Why use the word decentralized finance? I mean, how as a salesman, and I'm good at sales. I'm good at marketing. It's part of my day-to-day job. I know how to sell things. But I mean, first of all, we sell ourselves as business owners. We sell our products, but we sell ourselves more than our products because our word and our knowledge is our power, not the products we create.
agree?
So again, I'm not using buzzwords to define what I do. I mean, what is it? I'm a CMO. It doesn't say shit. I mean,
Right.
between us, sorry about the word. I mean, it doesn't say anything. Chief
Mhm.
marketing officer. Does it tell you what I do for a living?
Marketing.
Marketing. But what do I do? Digital marketing. I mean, strategy. Do I use newspapers and TV for marketing? Do I use videos? Do I use pictures? Do I use content? Do I
I
know
know.
how to
Well, what do
create
you do?
content?
I think we should have maybe a podcast episode on what does a CMO actually does, and what the role of a marketing leader or marketing team is in a Web3 project, right?
Well, a marketeer, and I have to kind of sum up because but
Well, we agreed on that, and we will put a pin on that. That's an invitation for you, Adan, to come back to the
thank
podcast,
you,
telling us
thank
all
you,
about
thank you, thank you,
marketing.
man.
Where
It was
can people find you?
LinkedIn. It's Adan Kedem, like it's spelled. Worldbusters is the company.
Mhm.
It's be my pleasure and honor to answer any question. And I'm very transparent and clear about what my religion is about buzzwords and everything that has to do with that. And it was a great pleasure and honor for me to be in your podcast and for you to invite me. Um,
It has been a
I,
pleasure
I,
having you, Adan. Thank you for
I
coming.
mean, I'm aware of your work for a long, long time, and you've been in my communities, and I've been into yours for a long, long
Mhm.
time. And I think you're a respected member in my book. And thank you for inviting me, man. Thank you.
Thank you for being here, Adan. Talk to you soon, and we'll schedule a new episode. Hopefully soon.
Let's do it. Let's do
All
it.
right. Thanks, Adan. Bye.
Bye.
Please keep in mind that none of what's said in this podcast should be considered financial advice. You are strongly recommended to do your own research and do not take anything we say in this podcast as a recommendation to buy or sell any assets whatsoever.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Web3 Creators Podcast. Make sure you follow us on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and all of your favorite platforms. And if you're serious about building your own Web3 business, head over to web3creatordojo.com and check out our courses. That's web3creatordojo.com. See you soon, creators.